FDM 3D printing has always had a problem. And the problem is pretty simple. The problem is after you 3D print your model or your part of your project is all the work that has to go into post-processing to prepare it to paint and finish. What if there was a way to get rid of all the rest of this crap and paint in the butt and use another 3D printing method to help us finish it up? I got one. I'm going to show it to you. It's really straightforward and it's simple. I'm going to show you right now here on 9142 Props and Armory. Do you like using all of this? I sure don't. I do a lot of projects and a lot of stuff for myself and for other people, and all of this gets in the way of me getting things done quick. So, and we know resin printing is fantastic. You print a part in resin, and when you're done, essentially you're ready to paint and it's good to go. However, not all jobs work with a resin part. Sometimes you need a little bit more strength. Now, there are some higher strength resins, and some work great, but when you need a little bit more strength and you want to print in PETG, or you want to print in nylon, or you want to print in ABS to really get some good strength, post-processing some of those materials really is a pain. Now, what if we could combine the ease of post-processing, because we know this stuff sands like balsa wood. It's nice and simple, very easy to sand, and combine the finishing ability of this along with the strength of an FDM printed part in a nice strong material. So we're going to take this and put them together and make your life a whole lot easier. So let's do it. So we're going to make this pretty simple and pretty easy. So we're going to take our FDM part, which is essentially right off of my Sunlu S8 behind me there. I took sandpaper to it for about a minute on the part just to knock down the high spots, because we don't want to have anything higher than everything else. So we want to fill in. And filler primer works. Glazing and spot putty works. Sanding, filler primer over and over again until you get a result that you're happy with and that's workable. But it takes time, and when you're doing parts and you're producing things and you want to make something for yourself, or you're making things for others and you want to turn things around quick, that way just doesn't work as well. There's too much sanding, there's too much waiting involved, and just too much time between your printed part and a finished part. So, very simple, very easy. What we're going to do is we're going to take our FDM printed part, we're going to coat it with a layer of resin from our resin machine. We're going to coat it with a layer of resin from our resin machine. And then we're going to post-cure it. We're going to cure it either out in the sun, or if you have something like I do, an Anycubic wash and cure station, or the Elegoo one, or curing machine, or whatever, it makes it nice and simple. So it's very easy. You're going to take a little bit of your favorite resin. You're going to get a paintbrush. And all we're going to do is paint the part up with the resin. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. This is going to lay down pretty well on its own. So we're not painting the Sistine Chapel here. We're not finishing something to make it look beautiful. Because remember that this stuff does sand off insanely well and very, very easily. So let's just coat this up real quick. Now, normally to do one of these things like this takes me several coats of filler primer. It may involve using some glazing and spot putty. But the thing of it is it ends up taking me 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes to get from a point, or longer sometimes depending on the conditions with drying with filler primer, to get from a part off my FDM machine to a part that's ready to be printed, to a part that's ready to be painted and finished finally. So when you look at this, you can see this is not a big deal. I'm doing this in real time and it's not taking more than a couple of minutes. And if you're doing this and you're not trying to talk and you're not trying to film it at the same time, it's going to go even quicker for you. Now the nice thing about photoreactive resin is the fact that I could do this outside, out in the sun, and I'll be done right away. So if you cure your parts that way, your resin parts that way, awesome. If you have a curing station or a curing machine, like I do with the Anycubic, wash and cure, whatever way you do it is going to work. So we've got our part coated, and I believe coated well enough. So we're going to switch gears. We're going to throw it in the wash and cure. We're going to cure it up real quick. We're going to see how it looks. All right, so we have wash and cure machine. We're going to switch it from wash mode to a cure mode here. Throw it in there. Throw the top on. And let it go. Part is done curing after 6 minutes. I ran it through 6 minutes, and that's what we're left with. A part that is extremely smooth already. Now I will hit this with some 400 and 600 grit sandpaper. It takes about 2 minutes of sanding to sand this part back down to perfectly smooth, just to get those little high spots out from brushing the resin on. So we started out with a part that had layer lines like this, visible layer lines even after a little bit of initial sanding, and then we come up with this after coating in resin and going ahead and curing it quick. And then when we're done, and I did just to throw a quick coat of black onto this other part of a DL44, just so you can see, same process, just a couple minutes from the printer to a little bit of sanding to a coat of resin to the curing machine, a few minutes of curing, out, a quick sand with some nice high grit, fine sandpaper, and then I could spray black on there. And that's a gloss black. If those layer lines were still there and visible, they would stick out like a sore thumb. So, nice, quick, easy thing for you to go ahead and try. I tried it out. I kicked around the idea of doing it for a while. I said, finally, I'm going to do it. I tried it. The results are fantastic. So I encourage you to go ahead and give it a shot. If you do, let me know down in the description below and down in the comments. Let me know how it worked for you and what you thought. For now, go ahead and give the video a like. Go ahead and subscribe if you've not done yet so already. I would appreciate it greatly. And there's Henry, the photobomb of Henry. And it's John. It's 9142 Props and Armory. I'll see you real soon.